Welcome to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton, Big E. Thank you very much for joining. It is Monday, January 12th. We're recording this about 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. It is pouring down rain in beautiful Victoria, BC. Almost tropical, some would say. It's a wet coast day. Very much an island day. Just wet. You need a life jacket for a day like today. It is Monday. We're coming off a busy football weekend, coming off a busy hockey weekend, coming off a busy sports weekend. To wrap it all in a nice bow. It's been a busy weekend. So we got a great show coming up. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can like the video below. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify. Wherever you get your podcast, you'll find us. You'll find a spot here. Please rate and review. It's greatly appreciated. It goes a long way. Again, you can follow us on Instagram at SYPPod, all lowercase, all one word. That's at SYPPod on Instagram. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out Spotify. Check out Apple Podcasts. Check out Instagram. I do a Substack. Those links are in our bio and our socials. There'll be a link below in the description. Check those links out as well. Check out the Substack. I got a couple pieces I think I'm working on this week as well. So a lot of stuff happening. A lot of good stuff happening. Go support the brand. Go check us out wherever you can. I'm going to make a video after I'm done here as well. Free SYP hoodies. Basically, because I kind of messed up the season of Bulls and the World Junior Challenge. Basically, I'm just giving away free hoodies. I have a bunch of SYP hoodies that are just sitting over here. While supplies last, claim your free SYP hoodie. Let us know. Send us an email, fill out the form, all that jazz, all that great stuff. So that's kind of the SYP update so far. Other stuff that's new and interesting. I got a haircut over the weekend. Pretty sick, I know, pretty rad. Watched a lot of football this weekend. Was not totally productive. I guess productive in to watch football and to take notes and to jot stuff down to make an interesting podcast. So at least in that regard, I was productive. But yeah, no, it was basically watching football, watching a bit of hockey, watching a bit of college basketball. Shout out the University of Wisconsin. They upset the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. I can't remember what the final score was, but Wisconsin went on the road, upset Michigan, who's the number 2 team in the country. Huge win for the Badgers. That helps their resume, in a few months' time, you would think, when, bracketology comes around and we're deciding who's in, who's out. Wisconsin has the best win of their season by a mile. So kudos to the Badgers. Well done to them. Wanted to just give a quick shout out there. I might do a little bit more college basketball stuff because it's fun. I like college basketball, and I'd like to have a little bit of context, not only just for you, the listener/viewer, but for also myself, so that when we get to March, I kind of have an idea of who to root for, who to watch, who to pay attention, not just the, Michigans and Arizonas and Gonzagas, or the St. John's, all these big names. There's some smaller schools and guys to know, I know Purdue is not a smaller school, but, well, I shouldn't say. Purdue is a top-ranked basketball school. They're not a mid-major or anything, but one of the guys that I really like watching on Purdue is Braden Smith. He's great playmaker, great point guard, fun guy to watch. Somebody like that is somebody that people should know before the tournament starts, but sometimes people just like going in cold. People like to just, fill out their bracket by mascots. They don't give a shit who plays for who or who plays where. That's totally fine. I understand that. That's kind of that's the college basketball update that I got for you. Big college basketball game on Saturday. It's kind of funny. Gonzaga is playing Seattle University at Climate Pledge Arena on Saturday night, and The other big game that's going on in Seattle on Saturday is the Seattle Seahawks playoff game. They host the San Francisco 49ers. So, kind of unfortunate timing on that regard for Gonzaga and Seattle U. I don't think many people are going to be. I mean, I'm sure some people will go, but I don't think. I think more people are going to choose the Seahawks. Are going to pick watching a Seahawks game over watching Gonzaga's Seattle U. If that was on any other night, or if they just moved the football game to Sunday, maybe there's more interest there. But unfortunately, not happening. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine that that's going to be like a huge, like, gate attendance game. Anyways, like I can't imagine that that's going to be a lot of people. Like Climate Pledge, I think is like 17.5 in terms of a capacity. And they might get, if they're lucky, 5,000 people, I think, for that game. Like you're trusting a big contingency of Gonzaga fans to show up, and maybe there is that. I don't know how much of a pull Gonzaga has in the Seattle area, but that's you know that's cool. They get to play at Climate Pledge. It's a cool venue. It's a great spot, and I know Seattle tries to play at least one, if not two games at Climate Pledge a year, but that's a big arena for the amount of people that are probably going. Regardless, even before the Seahawks game, I wouldn't think there would be more than 5,000 people going. So I don't know. Good luck. I hope it goes well. I, again, probably would be paying attention if not for the football game on Saturday night. Speaking of football, busy weekend in the NFL. I was cool. I again made my notes. Hold on. Kind of see. I got my notes. Some notes. More just the agenda. I usually do. So basically, I do like an agenda usually for each podcast, and then I try and make notes based off that agenda. So, for example, lost it here. Hold on, give me a second. Sorry. Yeah. Wild card weekend recap. Bye Eagles bye. I thought that was the Bears Packers game on Saturday night was probably the biggest game, the most exciting game. Although the Eagles shitting the bed against the 49ers is really funny. So, bye Eagles, bye is what I wrote, essentially, for the Eagles game. They lost to San Francisco 23-19. Bolt out. You know, like you bolt out. You got to bolt out of a place. I thought that kind of made sense. I thought that was kind of funny. That was maybe in reference to Justin Herbert, with how things are going in LA with the Chargers. New England won 16-3. Sunday Night Football in Foxborough. Somebody tried to tell me that New England LA was going to be the game of the week, and it just wasn't. It just was not going to beat Packers Bears. I promised you it was not going to. B, that game in itself was the worst game of the weekend. Was the most underwhelming game all wild card weekend. Not a great showing for either team. I guess the Patriots won. The Patriots did fine. Yeah. That game left a lot to be desired. That's, I guess, what I'm saying there. Bear down. Chicago won 31-27 over Green Bay at Soldier Field on Saturday night. That was a fun game. The Josh Allen show on Sunday morning. The Bills beat the Jags 27-24 in Jacksonville. The ramifications. That's a good one. The Rams won 34-31 over Carolina in Charlotte. Interesting game. That game looked like it was over, and then it looked like Carolina was going to do it, and then the Rams did it, and the Rams move on. So the Rams are going to be playing the Chicago Bears in Chicago on Sunday. The 49ers are playing Seattle on Saturday night. Or Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. I think they're waiting. They announced the day that the game is going to be on. They haven't announced the time, which kind of stupid, in my opinion, if you ask me. That's just me. The NFC again is Rams at Bears, Niners at Seahawks. Rams at Bears on Sunday, Niners at Seahawks on Saturday. And then in the AFC, you have the Bills and the Broncos. That game is going to be in Denver on Saturday. Presumably that game's going to be the early game on Saturday because you would think they're going to try and put Seattle, San Francisco in the nightcap on Saturday, and then Denver and Buffalo will play Saturday afternoon, you would think. And then on Sunday, you would think it's going to be the winner of Pittsburgh-Houston, which is tonight. We're recording this before the Monday Night Football game. Pittsburgh playing Houston in Pittsburgh at Acrisure Field. Acrisure Field? I don't know. It's Heinz Field. It's Heinz Field is what it is. Yeah, the Sunday night game, the winner of that will then go to Foxborough, to which presumably the game on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, I think it's a noon Pacific start, 3 p.m. Eastern, will be Houston or Pittsburgh at New England. And then you would think on Sunday night they're trying to do Bears Rams in Chicago, because that is certainly a TV audience that they're trying to hype up. Like they have two of the three biggest markets in the States with LA and Chicago. You would think they would put that game in prime time. Again, you would think. Let's start. I'm gonna discuss the Eagles a little bit. I think the Eagles were frauds from the beginning, to be quite honest. This year's Eagles reminded me a lot of the 2023 Eagles. If you don't remember the 2023 Eagles, that was the team that faltered down the stretch. They lost to the Seahawks in Seattle on Monday Night Football to Drew Lock. Drew Lock drove 90 yards down the field for a game-winning drive. The Eagles eventually lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a not very close playoff game. It was quite apparent that Tampa Bay was the better team and that shit had hit the fan in Philadelphia. Now, they hashed out their differences. They figured everything out last season. They won the Super Bowl. They didn't have to play the Lions last year, but they had a decent game against Washington. They crushed them at home. Their toughest competition last year was maybe the Rams. The Rams gave them a bit of a run for their money. But last year, the Eagles had a really great defense, had a really strong defense. And I don't think their defense was necessarily awful this season. They, had a tough matchup with San Francisco in, Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday. Not easy. That's not an easy game, for anybody to match up against defensively. But the Eagles just felt like frauds. I thought they felt closer to that 2023 team than they did last year's team. The offense is just no bueno. I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's a good quarterback. I would love to see what it would look like if he had a real offense that wasn't just go balls and I don't know if you want to say RPOs. Like they obviously have figured out the running game. Like they have figured out with Saquon having that strong O-line, get Jalen moving every once in a while. The Eagles have figured that part of it out. They don't seem to know what they're doing when they throw the ball. And they have incredible weapons like A.J. Brown, who I know had a big drop. Eventually they got the first down thanks to Goddard. Goddard's obviously a good receiver. Devontae Smith is a good receiver. You can use Saquon out of the backfield as a weapon. I don't know. I just struggle to believe that the Eagles are good. That the Eagles are a real legit contender. Like I'm not trying to take away their Super Bowl from last year. They obviously beat the Chiefs. The defense was incredible. They did what they needed to do. This team just did not have the juice, did not have the energy. I'm not a big Nick Sirianni guy. I really haven't been since the start. I know he's got them to 2 Super Bowls. He's won one of them. You can't take that away from him. That's not nothing. I just struggle to believe that this guy is he's not like. So how do I put this? Coaches are usually like you with coaching. You if you're not a you know skillful tactical coach, you're more of a vibes positive energy guy. That is the separator, right? Is like, hey, if you're not the schemer, if you're not the X's and O's guy, hey, at least you're a motivator. At least you're a guy who can get the boys pumped up, who can get the guys excited, and has the juice and has them wanting to play for you. And I don't think Sirianni is either one of those guys. He's not an X's and O's guy. He is not a motivator, a guy that it seems like the players want to play for. So I don't know why he's still there. I don't know why he's still the coach. I think even this offseason, there are better options. Like you have a Kevin Stefanski, you have a John Harbaugh, you have a trying to think of who else. I think even Pete Carroll is a better option than Nick Sirianni. Like that's how little I think of the guy. And I hope he does well and he's successful. I just don't think he's the guy that fits in with Philadelphia. Maybe he fits in the fact that he also hates the Eagles and hates his team and thinks this is fucking bullshit. Okay, I guess. But there have been so many chemistry issues and guys just not happy, whether it's Jalen Hurts a few years ago, whether it's A.J. Brown this year. They just, I don't know. They don't have it. They don't have that mojo. I don't know how you fix that. I think you gotta bring in a better coach, a better approach, at least offensively, in the passing game. Saquon's obviously Saquon. Hurts is a good quarterback. They have the weapons. They just need to find the coach who can scheme these guys up and make everybody better instead of just being like, fuck, I don't fucking know. Go fucking do your thing. That's just not a great approach to coaching. I think the Eagles just do that too much. So, kudos to the Niners. Niners advance. Brock Purdy had a couple poor interceptions, but everybody's talking about the game-winning touchdown to Christian McCaffrey from Purdy, where McCaffrey kind of runs through the A gap like a Texas screen or an angle route, a Texas route, which is basically it's almost like a reverse V where it's like yeah, if that kind of makes sense. He got his matchup with the linebacker. He found the open space, and Purdy connected with McCaffrey, and that was a game-winning touchdown. And the Niners, who were not perfect themselves, I hope this conversation is not me thinking that the Niners, got away scot-free. They had a couple issues in this game. Purdy was not fantastic, but they just did a better job than the Eagles. The defense showed up at the end. So, well done to San Francisco. Congrats on your win. I'm very sorry for George Kittle, who rumored towards Achilles. He is out for the rest of the season. We'll see what his recovery looks like, if he'll miss any of next season. But that's a huge loss for San Francisco. We'll see where they decide to go instead, what weapons they use, how they prepare for this next game with Seattle, their third meeting of the year. I'll say San Francisco did beat Seattle in Seattle in week 1. I think a lot has changed since then. What hasn't changed is the coaching. The guys coaching these teams are still the same, so we'll see what kind of schematics we get. How much guys rely on what they know and what they decide to create that's new for this game. Who knows? So, really excited for that game. Let's throw it over to Foxborough. So, in Foxborough, the Patriots beat the Chargers, again, 16-3. Drake May was solid. The Patriots were playing, I think, their fourth or fifth team with a winning record this year. Like it was the fourth or fifth game with a winning against a team with a winning record this year. Like they have played a pretty easy schedule. They have been coasting a little bit. So thought is maybe the Chargers would provide a bit of a test, and they did. I think the Chargers, they didn't let them run away until kind of near the end. Like it was like 3-3, and then it was 6-3, and then it was 9-3, and the touchdown from May at the end to Hunter Henry, former Charger, pretty much sealed the deal. The Chargers look like the Chargers, and that was my concern going into this game, was if Justin Herbert was going to be like Phillip Rivers of the past. And I mean that derogatory, because Phillip Rivers could just never get over New England in the playoffs. He couldn't get over the Patriots hump. And Herbert is now feeling like that guy. He has kind of been that guy, unfortunately, for a little bit, where he can't win the big playoff game. Not necessarily that the Chargers were favored in this game. They're down to like 2 second and third O linemen. Like, these guys are beat up. The defense was fine. Like, it's not like the defense was awful. The Keenan Allen, I think, had a drop. The run game really was not spectacular. It was fine. You were kind of waiting for the chunk play, the big play, the momentum swing, and it just never came for the Chargers. I don't know that this is going to be Justin Herbert's last season with the Chargers. He's a guy who fits really well with that team, fits really well in that city almost, fits well with that franchise in terms of just being a big name, a quarterback, a dude, a guy that the Chargers could sell jerseys for. I'm not sure what the future is. That's a team that I feel like could use a new face on offense, or at least running the offense. They could use a new coach running the offense. They could use a new playmaker. That, I think, is something to keep in mind with the Chargers. But it feels like it's 2 or 3 things that's keeping them back from winning the AFC. But I don't think they're that much, far off, say, Denver or New England. Like, I think maybe that speaks to how I don't know that those teams are necessarily serious, legit teams. But the Chargers are there, and they're the Chargers, and I think that's part of the problem, is that they're there, they're just not going any further. We know who the Chargers are. We know what they're about. They've done this for I don't know how many quarterbacks now. I don't know how many different iterations of the Chargers that we've seen, whether it's Herbert, whether it's Phillip Rivers, whether it's Dan Fouts. There's always been some guy who can do this, get 10 wins and get you into the playoffs and no more. I'm curious to see if they decide to blow it up, if they move Herbert, if Herbert wants to be moved, if they can get a decent O-line to protect him. And he took so many hits last night. Good Lord. He took so many just hits and sacks and was just beating the hell up. Like, that was probably not a fun plane ride back home cross country last night for Justin Herbert. So, again, kudos to the Patriots. They did what they needed to do. Drake May got a touchdown. Again, they are just awaiting the winner of Texans-Steelers, and obviously I think they're wanting the Steelers over the Texans because the Texans have won their last 9 straight games. The Texans will present some challenges on defense. They have a nasty defense, Houston does. We'll see if Drake May is ready for that. Who knows? So, bolt out. We'll see if Justin Herbert bolts out of LA and wants to trade, or if somebody comes knocking with a deal the Chargers can't refuse, and Justin Herbert probably just wait on another team. Who knows? It should be interesting to watch here in the offseason. Bear down. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears. They overcame an 18-point deficit. They won 31-27. Yeah, I was they were really going full Detroit Lions in the first half. I'll say about the Bears, they were going for everything and they weren't getting anything, and they put some more points. They gave Green Bay some more points that they probably didn't need to, but they still did. Um, yeah, I think the Bears are a fun team to watch. They do some fun stuff in the run game. Caleb is a magician. He made some incredible plays on Saturday night. I don't know how well they will fare against the Rams. Fortunately, they're at home. I think the weather forecast on Sunday is going to be kind of like mid-teens and sunny. Saturday it might snow, and then it's supposed to get nicer on Sunday. So the Rams are obviously going to have to deal with the elements. They're going to have to prepare for winter in the Midwest. Good luck with that if you're the LA Rams. But the Bears, they're serious. The Bears are serious. Caleb Williams is legit. I love their run game. I love some of the run designs that Ben Johnson comes up with. Phenomenal coach. The defense obviously did enough. They had some key stops. Brandon McManus missed field goal. The Bears are a good team. I don't know that they are a great team. I hope this doesn't come back to haunt me. I think that this is like, hey, we might lose in the playoffs this year, but next year is the year where it's like, hey, watch out next year. Like now, they have another year to add stuff. They have another year to add some more weapons. The Bears next year, I think, are the team that everybody's going to be talking about, that everybody's going to be excited about. They have the quarterback. They have the head coach. They got the big pieces out of the way. Now it's, can we fill in the next little bit here, add a little bit here, a little bit here. That's what's going to be key for the Bears here coming up. Regardless of how well they do this year, next year I think is the year where people are like, hey, watch out for the Bears. On the Packers, yeah, I mean, I think you bring back Matt LaFleur. I don't think you're firing him. I know Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator, was maybe getting some NHL head coaching interest. I don't know that he has that now. This might be a thing where they run it back. They just say, hey, injuries stunk. We're hurt down the stretch. We didn't have our full complement, full complements of guys. Hey, we're going to go get a real receiver. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Like, I don't know that there's really a lot the Packers can do. But this is also the same team. The only reason they got into the playoffs was because they tied the Cowboys. They finished a half game up on Dallas and a half game up on Detroit, I think it was. There's the Packers were, they were closer to missing the playoffs than you might think. And this was a team that a lot of us had high expectations for at the beginning of the season with the Micah Parsons trade, with Jordan Love, all this sort of stuff. Now, I think Jordan Love is still a guy. I think he's still a dude. I don't know that you're going to get much more out of it. Like, I think this is his peak. Like, I don't think he has another level or another gear to shift into. Maybe he needs a new coach. They change the offense, change some schematics, add another receiver. Maybe that's the issue with Green Bay. Maybe that's what they're missing. But, I just have a really tough time believing, they're going to be third or fourth next year in their own division. I just don't see that. They're too good. They're too smart. They're too talented. This Saturday night just came down to hey, we just got outworked. We got outplayed. We could not finish. And maybe that's on the coaching staff. And maybe you have to look at the coaching staff and be like, hey, that's unacceptable. We don't accept that around here. And I wouldn't blame them. I just don't know that you're going to find, like, do you think Harbaugh's going to come coach for you? Do you think Kevin Stefanski's going to come be your head coach? Are you going to pay them enough to make it worthwhile? I don't know. I don't know. It's obviously a heartbreaking way to end the season, and maybe next year will be different. Maybe they'll get the revenge next year. Who knows? The Josh Allen show, boy, he was incredible. He was arguably the MVP of the weekend. He carried the Buffalo Bills. He said to the Bills, "Get on my back, and I'll lead you." He's not healthy. That dude, he is not 100%. He is maybe like 60, 65% healthy right now. And he still beat the Jags. He still went into Jacksonville, took down the Jags, carried the Bills. That guy is incredible. I love Josh Allen. He is a phenomenal quarterback. The Bills are still a bit of a flawed team. They're not perfect. They got a really good performance from their defense, especially Trey White at corner. The Bills were legit yesterday. They didn't back down. They fought through the adversity, and they got through a pretty solid, not nothing Jags team in Jacksonville. So I wanted to give a shout out to them. Shout out to Josh Allen. King of the city, man. Dating Haley Steinfeld. I think now they're engaged. He's winning playoff games. He's the king of the city, man. Josh Allen's legit. Josh Allen's a dude. That he was the dude of the weekend, I think. That was a guy who wanted to fucking win, and you love to see it. I hope he goes into Denver and kicks their ass next week. That defense is obviously going to be a pain in the ass for him. It's not going to be an easy matchup. But if the defense on Buffalo, if Buffalo's defense can hold up, control Bo Nix, I would be hard pressed to bet against Josh Allen. I really, really think he is truly special, truly, truly, truly special. So kudos to Josh Allen, kudos to the Bills. Shout out the Jags. They had a hell of a year. They were fun. They were fun. It just didn't work out. Didn't work out. Tough matchup against the Bills. Yeah. I think Liam Cohen said it best to one of the Jags beat reports. Like, you gotta hold your head up high. You can't hang your head after a game like that. And that's correct. You can't. You did all that you could. You gave it your all this year. You had a hell of a fight up until the very end. Trevor Lawrence is a guy. I think they're going to be players in the offseason. They usually are. They usually have the dollars to go be guys in the offseason. So, go watch out for the Jags. The Jags, they might be in on some stuff this offseason. We'll see what they do. We'll see what moves they make. But, yeah, hell of a win for Josh Allen and the Bills. Well done. There are going to be so many tables smashed in Buffalo this week. We'll see how many there are smashed Saturday in Denver. The ramifications. The Rams beat the Panthers 34-31. The Rams nearly fucked it up, but they eventually won. They did their job. They went into Carolina. They beat the Panthers, and now they have a meeting with the Chicago Bears. I don't know. I don't think this game told us anything that we didn't already know about the Rams. Like, we know the Rams are a good team who sometimes play to the level of their competition, especially recently. They will be in it against the Bears. I don't know that I love the Rams going on the road to try and win a game in Chicago, but I think the Rams are still a great team, a strong team. They could win on Sunday. I would not be shocked. The Panthers, on the other hand, I don't know what to make of the Panthers. They had a losing record in the regular season, still won a division, push the Rams to until the very end. They're probably running it back with Bryce Young and Dave Canales. I don't know that you say otherwise. It's still a pretty average team that, was fine defensively, fine offensively. Tet McMillan, wide receiver, he's awesome. Jalen Coker had some big plays. Chuba Hubbard, obviously, running back, tremendous guy. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Panthers. I think they are okay. I don't know that they are going to be a top team anytime soon. I think there is a real low ceiling on these guys. I'm not really surprised that they only lost by 3. There's part of me that was also kind of thinking this team could win. They could beat the Rams. It just couldn't come up with it at the end. So, credit where credit's due. Kind of similar to Jacksonville. Credit where credit's due. You put up a great fight. It wasn't for a lack of effort. You just got beat by a better team, and that's okay. That happens. Shit happens like that. Monday Night Football tonight. Texans, Steelers. That's again Heinz Field. I'm calling it that. I don't care what the other thing is. The winner of this game goes to Foxborough to play the Patriots on Sunday. That is your NFL Wild Card Weekend wrap up. That is that's what we got for football. Decent weekend for football. Not a bad showcase. I am gonna be nervous all week against the Niners with that game on Saturday. I'll try and handle it as best I can, but it won't be easy. Let's talk some hockey. So, devil of a time. That's what I got for the New Jersey Devils. On Thursday, they lost to Pittsburgh. Sunday, they lost to the worst team in the NHL, the Winnipeg Jets, in Winnipeg. I believe Thursday's game was either 4-0 or 4-1 in Pittsburgh, losing to the Penguins. Yesterday, Sunday, it was 4-3. The Jets beat the Devils in Winnipeg. Yeah, I think they're having a devil of a time. If you look at the standings, I don't know if it's still up to date, but I was talking about it with friends. I think if you're below Florida in the Eastern Conference, so that would be like the Devils, the Rangers, Ottawa, and Columbus. I think you just need to pack it in. You're selling it. You're not making the playoffs. Too many teams to climb over. Your team is not good enough for XYZ reason. Sell what you can at the deadline. Try again next year. And that includes, again, the New Jersey Devils, who stink. They're no bueno. And I'm going to throw out a hot take. I didn't know quite how I wanted to work this in, but I'm just going to say it. I wonder if the New Jersey Devils would consider trading Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes. The reason I say that is because I think this team has gone as far as they can with their current group of guys. I think those runs they had a few years ago against the Rangers were really impressive. Really cool. Just couldn't get it done. Couldn't got beat by better teams. That happens. These guys now, they have Jack Hughes, they have Nico Hischier, they have Luke Hughes, they still have Dougie Hamilton, they have Jonas Siegenthaler, they have some guys, Jesper Bratt, however you want to put it, they have some guys. But I think your current core, as it stands, has got as far as they can. Now, you can hold on and wait for 2 years for Quinn to come to New Jersey and sign him to a deal. You could wait on that for 2 years. It just feels like you're wasting 2 years of certainly Jack's prime and maybe Luke Hughes' prime and maybe Nico's prime. That's all it is for me. I wonder if they sell high on these guys and they start over because it's just not working in New Jersey. They don't have the goaltending. No offense to Jacob Markstrom. I just don't think he's the guy. I don't. It's almost becoming a Carolina thing in goal for them. Even if you get to the playoffs and you go on a run, you're counting on Markstrom to be your guy, and I just don't know that he is healthy enough and good enough to carry you there. I don't think he is. Goaltending also, I'll say, a volatile position. Could be completely wrong. I could be speaking out of my ass here. Wouldn't be the first time. But if you're the New Jersey Devils, I seriously consider and I seriously wonder if you would sell high on these guys, particularly Jack and Luke, to Minnesota where Quinn is now, and you see what kind of assets you can get back. You can see if you can get back Matt Boldy. You can see if you get back 3 or 4 first-round picks. You can try and see who else Minnesota is wanting to get rid of, or you trade Jack and Luke somewhere else, and somebody else can take part in a huge sweepstake because it didn't work for you. You didn't land Quinn. You waited on something to come to you instead of going out to get it. That's what happened with Quinn. And you can still wait on that thing to come to you, but there's no guarantee that it is. There's no guarantee that any of those guys, or Quinn at least, is coming to play for your team. The reason I also throw out Jack and Luke being traded, those guys have no trade clause. Those guys have no trade clauses. Those guys are free to move however the Devils see fit. They could trade them right now, and there's no clauses, there's no restrictions, there's no limitations. They could trade those guys to Vancouver. They could trade those guys to Edmonton. I wonder if the Devils just start over, sell these guys high, with now where they don't have any movements, where I think Jack's maybe kick in next year and maybe Luke's as well. This is the last year that you have the opportunity to move these guys freely on your own. Again, maybe these guys go on a heater, they turn it around, they go get a playoff spot. I look like an idiot. Again, wouldn't be the first time, probably not going to be the last time. I just think you need to give some serious consideration to selling guys while their value is so high, seeing what you can get in return, who else is on the market, who else guys are willing to part with, and going from there. Tom Fitzgerald, I seriously doubt his ability to build a cup contender. I think he had it maybe a few years ago, and for one reason or another, it hasn't really worked out this time. Injuries are a problem. I understand they have the new coach. And by new coach, I mean Sheldon Keefe is in his second year, and I like Sheldon Keefe. I think Sheldon Keefe is a good coach. I think he's a solid coach. I just don't know that this team is going to be the team that gets it over that gets it done, that gets over the hump. And maybe you just like, hey, it's not working with these guys. We need some new blood. We need some new faces. We need some new guys in here, some new energy. We got a lot in return. We're building around this. And I think that's okay. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think Hischier is a good / great centerman sometimes. Jack Hughes is obviously really good, really great. But can Jack Hughes get you something that you to fill out a bit more of a balanced roster? I don't know. I have no idea what the offer would look like. I just wanted to shout it out because you're losing to the Winnipeg Jets. You're losing in Winnipeg to the Jets, who are the worst team in the league. You need to do something. You can't just sit on your hands and do nothing. And if you want to keep sitting on your hands and doing nothing, by all means, go for it. You just maybe don't necessarily get a job next season because it's unacceptable. You're too good to be doing this, is what I'm saying. I'm going to also talk about the Vancouver Canucks. I have no Canucks no. Instead of go Canucks go, which is what they usually chant at games, I have no Canucks no. the Canucks lost to Detroit the other night, 5-1. And then they followed that up with a 5-0 shutout loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto on Saturday night, hockey night in Canada. This team has no energy. This team has no... The body language was bad, I thought, the other night in Detroit. I didn't really get a great reaction Saturday because I was watching football mostly. But it sounded like, after, Marcus Pettersson fought Domi, that was it. That was the end of the game right there for Vancouver. They regardless of what the score was, they just weren't winning that game. They did not have the energy nor the interest in playing. And I get that shit has not gone well for them this year. I get that things have not gone to plan. It's over. Until again, kind of similar to New Jersey in that unless you do something, unless you're firing a coach or trading a guy or doing XYZ thing, this is just who you are. This is just what you're about, and this is what it's going to be until otherwise. So, congratulations, Vancouver. They're playing tonight against Montreal. I believe it's the Amazon Prime game here in Canada. Congratulations. You guys are going to get your ass kicked. You guys suck. You guys stink. You're going to be the worst team. If you're tanking for McKenna, you're doing a great job. If you don't want to tank for McKenna, you're tanking for Gavin McKenna or Keaton Verhoff or Ivor Steinberg. Either one of those guys. You're right in line to get one of those guys. So if that's what you're aiming for, good job. Keep it up. I'm kind of out on Foote. I don't know that he's the guy. I think he was kind of brought in as the head coach to be the Quinn Hughes whisperer. And now that Quinn Hughes is gone, it's like, okay, what do you do here? What's the point? What's the move? I don't know what you do if you're Vancouver. Your things are going to get worse before they get better, I think, if you're the Canucks. Vegas Golden Weekend. Vegas, Thursday they beat Columbus. Saturday they beat St. Louis. And Sunday they beat San Jose. Columbus and St. Louis, those games were at home. Sunday in San Jose. Great weekend for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're getting back on track. They are a team to watch. They are a team to beat. They see what's going on in the Central, and they're like, we want a piece of that action. We think we can go compete for a Stanley Cup. I think if you combine their overtime losses and their losses, they have more losses than wins this year, but I could be completely wrong. The Golden Knights are a legit team. They are serious in terms of we can not only just win this division, because I think the Pacific is very much up for grabs. They are very much in we think we can go win the cup. We have the star power to do so. We have the chemistry. We have the coach. Defense has been okay. Goaltending's a bit of an issue. We'll see what they do with that for the rest of the year. I don't know. Watch out for Vegas. Vegas is legit. Vegas. I mean, I don't. It's not surprising. Like we always knew they were good, but now they had a really strong weekend, and they're showing that they are. You don't want to mess with Vegas. You don't want to get in their way. Maybe the Oilers will again because they've had some success in the playoffs, but the Vegas Golden Knights, that's a fun team. That's a team that can shoot, that can pass, that can do pretty much all the things that you want a team to do. They just need to get a save and hope the defense holds up. That's essentially that's essentially the MO with Vegas. And then tonight also is the Sergei Fedorov number retirement night in Detroit as they take on the Carolina Hurricanes. The Red Wings are retiring number 91 in honor of Sergei Fedorov. In case you don't know, Fedorov played for the Red Wings. He was a part of the Russian Five that helped Detroit win the Stanley Cup in 97 and 98. He was also on the super stacked all-star team that was the 2002 Red Wings. He's also played for Anaheim, Columbus, and Washington, I believe, were the other three teams that he played for. Basically, I think there was a time where he was one of the best guys in the league, and I think Gretzky said it or something like that in like the late 90s. So, like the guy was legit. Somebody was saying he was like three players in one. He could pretty much do anything. Incredible guy. It didn't. The ending in Detroit was a little sour. It didn't end well in Detroit, which is why it's taken so long for the Red Wings to retire his number. But fortunately, I think, feelings have passed. Time heals all wounds, and now the number 91 rightfully is going up into the rafters at Little Caesars Arena. So I'm going to be watching that a little bit today. That's going to be really cool. That's really exciting. Congrats to Sergei. Thank you to the Red Wings for finally doing this. And, hopefully the Red Wings win 9-1 in Fedorov's honor. I think that would be appropriate. That would only be the right thing to do. Some other news. NASCAR. I know how excited people are. A lot of people just turned off the podcast. Just ended the show after I said NASCAR. NASCAR is announcing a new playoff format. We're recording this right before that. They're going to announce it at 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern today in Concord, North Carolina. Not sure what it's going to be yet. We'll know more when they announce it. Their current playoff format is complicated and convoluted and doesn't make a ton of sense to the average fan. Hopefully they simplify it. Maybe they make it a little bit easier. I'm not sure. We'll find out later today. So keep an eye out on that. To check your sources. See what comes up later today. Alex Bregman is a Cub. Fuck the Cubs. I'm now anti-Cub because Alex Bregman's a cheater and he can eat shit. And listen. The Cubs' third baseman history recently, going from Matt Shaw, who had to leave mid-season. I shouldn't even say mid-season. He had to leave like down the stretch because he went to Charlie Kirk's funeral. That's Cubs third baseman, former Cubs third baseman Matt Shaw. And now it's Alex Bregman, who is a cheater and likes hitting trash cans and, former Houston Astro, so he can get fucked. I'm not saying those two are the same. Those two are obviously a little different, but yeah, Cubs being the Cubs third baseman, you get it takes a certain personality, I guess you could say. So, actually, to be quite honest, the third base that actually is like probably an upgrade from their current third baseman. But I don't know if they re-signed Kyle Tucker, so I might come at the expense of Kyle Tucker. Anyways, fuck you, Bregman. That's kind of what I wanted to say here. I discussed a little men's basketball. PWHL. I don't know how many of you guys were watching PWHL this weekend. They had some takeover tour games. Ottawa beat Boston in a shootout in Halifax in front of over 10,000 people. They said it was a sellout, so well done, Halifax. Kudos to you guys. And then Sunday in Quebec City, the Montreal Victoire beat the Vancouver Golden Knights 1-0. And Renee Desbienne, she got a shutout. She is from north of Quebec City, so this would technically be like a home game for her. And she got the shutout, her third career PWHL shutout. So good for her. The Golden Knights kind of stink. They, I think, are last place in the PWHL right now, and they've conceded the most goals. Vancouver, they're not too hot right now. Minnesota beat Seattle 6-2 yesterday in St. Paul. The Frost are looking really good. Now, I should say Seattle maybe isn't that good, but I thought the Frost looked really good. They could shoot the lights out. That is a team that is going to be tough to beat if they keep scoring like that. But yeah, the two expansion teams, what a shocker, are second to last and last in the PWHL. Seattle and Vancouver, I think, both have 12 points. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But huge wins for Ottawa to get over Boston in a shootout. And huge win for Minnesota, score-wise, and huge win for Montreal to get the shutout win. So kudos to them. Vancouver is back home on Saturday against Toronto. No, they're in Toronto on Saturday. That's the last game of their road trip, is playing the Toronto Scepters at Scotiabank Arena on Saturday at 12 Pacific. I think it's like PWHL game at Scotiabank and then Maple Leafs game. I think that's how that works. I think that's what's happening. Anyways, good stuff out of the PWHL. I'm just gonna double check because I don't think I got any questions for the podcast. I didn't see any last time I checked. Yep, no questions. All right. Well, that's the podcast then for Monday. We got a busy week coming up again. Once again, thank you very much for listening. Again, please check us out on all of our platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video. Check us out on Instagram. Check out my Substack. A lot of great stuff coming up. I'm gonna have a video later today, hopefully for SYP hoodies, all that sort of stuff. So please tell your friends. Please share. It's been great doing this. I'm glad we get to do this, and hopefully we get to do more here coming up down a stretch here. We got a lot of good stuff coming, so thank you again. Appreciate all your time. We look forward to chatting with you again soon. Peace out.